We are back at Donington Circuit, this time in a fully from scratch built track in a Corvette C6R, the latest of the cars to come out of the ISR modding group factory. Welcome to episode 14 of our Assetto Corsa series, where we review the simulator and the mods that come with it, and generally laugh at each other crashing. Off the camera, of course. On camera we try to remain a little bit professional. We're not really that professional. Right, let's just get straight into this. We've set up a race between the Corvette C6R, which is the car that we're going to be reviewing today, the McLaren MP4-12C GT3, which is right in front of us, the BMW Z4 GT3, which I don't know where they are, and the M3 GT2, which, well, now that's right in front of us. Just to mix things up a bit, so we've got some multi-class racing between GT3 and GT2 cars. That way we can have much more action on the track than most of our videos, which we think will give you guys, as the viewers, a much more exciting experience and probably give you a lot more laughs when we crash or spin or do something pretty ridiculous. We're going to start though by talking about Donington, not this car. This Donington track, like I said, is a fully from scratch built track. If you remember in a few episodes ago, we did have a track mod that added this track to the simulator, but that was by means of a conversion from an R-Factor track. So that being said, it was a conversion, so it may not have been up to scratch, but we liked that quite a bit. That's why we showed it in our video. And now though, thanks to a race department poster Brun, so many thanks to him, we've got a purpose-built racetrack. Purpose-built, that's not even the right word. We've got a fully from scratch built racetrack. I've said this before. From scratch built racetrack, so you can see the hard work that's gone in here to have something like this built. And you know what? It's brilliant. It's really, really good. I'm gonna say straight away, it's better than the conversion track. But I am going to point out the few differences and why you might want to try out the conversion track rather than this track, or this track rather than the conversion track. So let's start with the differences. Now, this version does not have the national variant. So the national variant is a shorter version of the track, and it doesn't have the hairpin at the end. The chicane will go to the right instead of the left, so it skips out that whole last bit of the track. Only saves 30 seconds or something, but it is 30 seconds and it is a different layout of track. And if you do want to try that out, you might want to download the conversion version of the conversion version. Oh dear, the conversion track. That's better. The conversion track, which we are going to be linking in the description box below. By the way, if you haven't seen that conversion track, we did do a video on it a few episodes ago, so you might. Oh dear. Yeah, that was quite a nasty accident. We did do a video on it a few episodes ago, so you might want to check that out so you can have a look at what that track looks like. This version also does not have brake markers or a map, so you'll have to know your braking points and you'll have to get used to the track the old-fashioned way. If you're not used to this track, it may be a bit of a challenge. The other version does have this, so you might want to try the other version to get yourself used to a track, and who knows, you might prefer that version. This variant though of the track is visually more polished. It looks somewhat nicer than the converted version, and of course it's still going to be further improved upon, so I am looking forward to that. You can see that unlike the converted version, there aren't crowds or barriers too close into the track, so it's got more of a runoff, which I think is better. I think it's more modern as well. This does look like it's a newer version of the track, unlike the R-Factor version, which seems to be based off a version that was quite some time ago. So that's something that you might want to consider. Overall though, the track is a lot smoother. The curbs are a lot better. There's a section that we're going to be coming into right now, which I will show you as we come into it, so it's good timing. Right, this back straight here, there's a bump that those three cars have just gone over, and we're going to be catching up to right now. And there we go, we've just gone over that bump. Now that bump is a lot more severe in the converted version, to an extent that it does destabilize the cars quite significantly. And if you do go over at full throttle, you can just get your front wheels to lift off. which isn't exactly ideal. Oh, bump. That's not exactly ideal, so I think that this version is a lot better, a lot smoother, the track surface is a lot better, and the grip levels and all that are a lot more realistic in this version. I like that. Overall frames though, they're similar in both versions, so there's nothing to be worrying about despite the visual differences. Another thing is that just behind us there are no barriers at the final section of the track, so if you don't know the track you can actually drive the national pit straightway and, well, generally get yourself a bit lost in a racetrack. Where are you going? And despite there being 24 grid slots available on this track, only 19 of them work. But I think 19 is plenty for people to be racing with. But it is something that the mod author is fully aware of, but he doesn't know how to resolve it. Not going to knock him for that at all, not going to knock this track at all for that. I'm going to give this track 9 out of 10. Definitely 9 out of 10. It's a great track and it's well worth the download. The other track I'm going to give 7.5 out of 10. Again, it's still worth the download, especially if you want to get used to this track. So do download both those tracks. They're both in our description boxes. But do wait till the end of this video, because now we're going to move on to this car. The C6R Corvette, endurance style race car, just like the rest of the cars that are on this field. It used to race in a GT1 class, which was from 2005 through 2009, but it's now classed as a GT2 car, which is in the same category as the M3. That's sort of, well, you can just see them over there. The M3 over there, it's in the similar category as that. It has a 5.5 litre V8 engine, it produces 491 brake horsepower and a 6-speed paddle shift, so you can hear that clicking. That's actually the paddle shifters as we're shifting through the gears. This particular car, raced by Jan Magnussen, former F1 racer whose son Kevin now races for McLaren F1, so it is raced by a well-known racing driver. Our impressions of this car though, we've taken this car out for quite a few laps, not just on this track, we took it out on a couple of other tracks as well. We really do like this car. It loves to hold onto the road. It has a slight amount of oversteer at times, but that's what you generally do prefer in these cars. But the oversteer is generally out of the slow speed corners. First gear feels somewhat sluggish if you're not going to put a significant amount of power down on it, but the rest of the gears feel pretty decent. Aero performance, as expected for a GT2 car. You know, its top speed is not as high as you'd want for a GT, compared to a GT1 car or some other race cars, but it is still fairly good. It's better than the GT3 cars definitely, and I'd say that it's probably a little better than the BMW as well. You just have to learn this car and know how to really race it. The interior, highly detailed. You can see right here where we are racing in the interior view. I like that camera, that GT2 camera, so that you can see behind. That sort of mounted, looks like it's on the rear bumper, instead of a regular and conventional rear view mirror, which you wouldn't be able to see behind because of all the roll bars and everything like that. So that's there. The LEDs are quite nice. You've got the green LEDs that turn blue and then red when you're over revving. He's got himself caught up on the curb. See, you have to be careful when you're driving on these. Let's just wait for him to bring himself around. The display is fully functional, so it gives you a lap delta, it gives you your current lap time, your gear, gives you your speed in miles an hour. We haven't tried it in kilometers an hour actually, because we're British, so we try things and we deal with things in miles an hour. It gives you your revs, and it also gives you how much fuel you've got. So you can see we've got fuel consumption off, but we do have 90 litres of fuel on board. So that's a nice touch. The steering wheel I think could use a little bit more detail. The buttons just seem a little bit odd. I'm not sure why they seem a little bit odd, but apart from that, the interior is really fantastic. Outside views are spot on. With the liveries, they're all authentically reproduced, as well as the car model too. It really looks good. This is definitely even better than their first model, the Corvette Daytona prototype, which we did a few episodes ago as well. What we'll do is we'll show you some exterior views after we finish this race. So we're on what lap? We're on lap 6 of 6, so we'll finish off this lap and then we'll go into the replay and we'll show you some of the exterior views and see what you think of that, and show you'll be able to experience those sounds, which they really do sound good. The tick over in this car is fantastic, and well, you can see there the slight overspeed that was carried in there. You do have to learn this car. It's not an easy car to drive, but it's a good car to drive. So we definitely recommend that you download this car. And what we'll do is we'll just leave you to the rest of this lap while we finish off driving around the circuit. You've just been lapped. Right, we'll finish off driving this lap once we're finished, and then we'll go and have a look at some replays so that you guys can have a feel for the exterior of the car and the exterior sounds. Please do subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave a comments in our comments box as to what we should do next. We're always willing to take a listen from what you guys want, and we want to make videos that you guys would enjoy more, and we're going to enjoy making them regardless, as long as the videos aren't too ridiculous. So thank you very much for watching. Keep watching for the rest of the video. All the download links are in the description box below, and we will see you in Assetto Corsa next week.